Evening, everybody. Um, we didn't play an intro, so I didn't. I was waiting for the clock to come on up there for live. Uh, I haven't done this in a long time since we combined everybody in. Oh, I hear something.
We're live. It's going.
Oh, sorry.
I don't
I'm
hear
hearing
it.
the girl. I'm hearing the Girl Scouts here because I had the stream on and I forgot about that I had it on. I couldn't where was that coming from? Yeah, I haven't done this since we put all of our channels together for Coffee and Ham Radio. So if it goes kind of weird, it's my fault. That's what they tell me all the time, anyhow.
Right.
But I do want to say that I wanted to learn something about the TinySA and those type of little meters, and who else better? Like, I mean, everybody else is tapped into the Smoking Ape. So I figure, oh, I work with this guy. I should get him to show me how to do this stuff. So that's what we're going to do today. Ape, what you got going on? I think you just released
A
a
battery
video today, didn't
video.
you? A battery
I did
video.
one. I did one today. I don't know how you say it. I'm gonna act like it's a French name. Grenier, the greener battery,
The
something
greener,
like
yeah.
that. And look at this. You got a new channel member there with other Andy.
Hey, thank you, Andy. I don't know that we'll do anything tonight, unless you guys want it. I mean, we can throw you some bugle out there if you want it, but we're gonna have our hands full, I think, with just the two of us. Ape's gonna show me how to use this thing. I have played with it just a little bit. I mean, it's turned on
He's
right
talking
now,
about the
so
TinySA he played
the
with.
TinySA guys, yeah. Watch it now. Um, it's I really like my regular antenna testers because I'm used to them. They're easy for me, but I do know that you can do more with these type of basically oscilloscope type things, like the tiny SA and stuff. So I'm trying to broaden my horizons here, and Ape's gonna hate it because he's gonna have to teach me. So
That's all right. I mean, the thing is like when I got the Nano VNA a long time ago, I bought it because I needed an antenna analyzer and it was cheap.
oh yeah, they are
And I bought it strictly because it was cheap, and I got it, and I turned it on, you get all those goofy traces and everything on there, and I had no idea what any of it meant. I'm like, "Well, Jesus, this is gonna be impossible," and I just started playing with it, and then, going on the internet and reading about them because there wasn't really any, YouTube videos on it either, and then, when the Tiny SA came out, I was like, "Oh, damn, this thing's gonna be awesome," and so I bought one, and I literally didn't take it out of the box for probably the first 6 months that I had it. 'Cause I was like, "I don't know anything about these things. I don't know how to operate it. I probably end up breaking it or messing it up and stuff like that." And then slowly over time, I just started messing with it more and more and more. And
right.
now I
How many
love
do you have? How many of these do you have, though? I mean,
the tiny SAs. I have four. I've got two of the
four.
originals and two of the ultras. The nano VNAs, I don't even know how many, but
And,
I've
and
given
I,
a ton away and I sold a couple of them.
yeah, you gave me not a tiny SA, but the other one.
Yeah, the nano VNA
Yeah,
2, I think is what it was. Look at that. Jim's
yeah.
watching.
Jim is here.
He's probably
So,
standing up behind a shed with the Newport.
well, on his phone. So, Ape is the guy that kind of knows these things, and so that's where we're going to the expert, at least in the ham radio world. I'm sure there's people in other worlds that may know more
Put
than
me to
Ape, but
shame.
but
Yeah.
I don't know any of those guys, so that's the way it goes. We're kind of stalling here for a second. I don't do this very often, so hopefully we get a few more people in. And now I did take mine out of the box first thing. I turned it on and then stuck it on the charger just to make sure it was charged. And in fact, I was paranoid today, so I went ahead and did it again just to make sure that it didn't die. But Ape and I both we did the TID radios.
We
And
did.
if you guys remember, right, the first ones were just really, really bad. And then was it me, you, and Jim all got one from came directly from China. No battery, no nothing, and
Right.
just a yellow wrapped up box. And they tested Jim's the other day, and his was like super, super clean,
Yeah, mine
which
was too.
surprised us. So we're kind of wondering if mine's the same way because it was now a lot of people will say, well, you probably got this because you're a YouTube guy, so they sent you. But sometimes you suspect that, and I know Will what's his name that does the batteries. He does buy a lot. That guy makes 100,000 a year or better on his YouTube channel though, so he can afford it. But he does buy his own batteries a lot of times, so he doesn't get that. Because I mean, I'm not famous enough for most of the stuff. Like I did a diesel heater, and somebody said that nobody ever watched me for a diesel heater before. Although that video did do good, and it is a awesome one. If you guys haven't seen that video, check it out. So
Yeah, it was, so the first two of the TIDs that I got. Here's the third one. I threw the first two out. They were really bad, and they came to me shipped from Amazon. So when I got them, they were like in Amazon boxes and all that kind of stuff.
That's how my first one
came. And then they started sending me stuff from China. Like they sent me a battery from China, not from the Amazon warehouse, because originally they thought it was the battery. And then they sent me just this radio with no battery, and it was, like you said, in a little teeny box like this big, and it was all yellow taped up, and it was really clean and had none of the problems that the first two had. And so I was thinking they sent me a doctored one, and
they were telling you they were fixing it up with firmware and stuff, right, or something like that. And we don't really buy that.
Yeah.
So where do we want to start on this thing? Do we? I've got a overhead shot of this. Do we want to just maybe calibrate it? Huh? Let me switch over to that one.
Yeah. So the first thing we need to do is we need to do the self test, and then we do the level calibration.
Okay.
Let me get you a little bit bigger if I can figure out how to do this.
I can.
We normally have Randy for this.
This is the first radio we're going to test. This is a Baofeng, and I'm pretty sure this is an old Baofeng that's pretty dirty. I'm sure I can. If you guys think, if you need the screen, I can bring it in a little bit. There, if I go the right way. If you guys don't care about the radio.
There you go.
So that's a little bigger for you guys. All right, so where we're going to go on the menu?
So go into the menu, and then you want to go into config, which is the second up from the bottom.
Got it.
Exactly, Jim. Randy has the night off, so now I've got to figure out how to switch all the screens.
We tried to get the Telemundo girl just to get ratings higher, but she was busy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and then in there at the top, the second one down should say self-test. So you want to go ahead and hit that.
All right. And I do have the cords hooked together from side to side, top to bottom.
So one of the things is that if you do get a fake TinySA, it'll fail the self-test. Now, as of a couple of weeks ago, the designer of this said that they haven't seen any known fake ultras on the market, but that just means they haven't caught them yet. And then
that's something I wanted to bring up. And I did talk to Abe before I bought one to find out where to get one. And I'll leave that. It's not in the description right now, but I will add it later, of where I bought mine off of AliExpress. And that was one of the places they said to get it.
Yeah, it's like $20-30 cheaper to get it off AliExpress.
It is.
If you can't wait, look at the guys over at Arnell, and then Don.
And they were out. Hey, thank you, Don.
There you go, Don. You're awesome.
Yeah, this guy's always a great guest, man, for everybody.
So just go ahead and touch the screen because the self test is done at this point.
All right. There we go.
All right, and then what you want to do is you want to go back into the menu, and then you want to go to config, and then you want to do the level calibration, which is the third one down.
Okay.
And then just pick the first one where it says 100 to 5.34, and then hit calibrate.
So it's pretty self-explanatory there. Most of it, once you kind of know what.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So the top port is injecting signals that are supposed to be of a particular value. So then the bottom port, when it detects those signals, it adjusts itself to what they're supposed to be. So that way, if it's off by 2.5 dB or something like that, when you use your radio to test, it'll have already adjusted for the 2.5 dB difference.
Okay, so that's pretty good, because the other one that you get, the one you sent me, you have to put different things in to test it, and this one does everything on board.
Yeah, so the other one works off of reflected signals, and it does also do a through test, but so that's why you have to use those calibration standards on there. And like right now in the top left-hand corner of your screen, the text is in red, and so that will go that'll go green once the calibration is done. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So now it says it's done. So just touch the screen anywhere. And we should be good to go.
Just say it's done? Yeah, complete. All right.
So now it's white. So now at the top of it, you can see that the screen's white.
I do see it. Yeah.
So right. what we want to do now is take your radio, and you probably have the attenuator already connected to the radio. So disconnect, not that one, the other one. The top. Disconnect
them
the
both
top.
off. I've got a different.
Okay. Oh, right, because you got a different cable. Hey, look at this. Dan in San Diego is hitting you up with a super chat, and he says he has the Ultra, and it comes in handy numerous times.
Yeah,
well, I agree, man.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it, Dan. Thank you.
Once you start using them and you use them often, you're constantly using them because you're like, oh, I can figure this out, or I can solve that problem, or I can look at this.
This goes to the bottom one, right?
Yeah.
That's
it says RF.
Yeah, it says RF, so that kind of makes sense, guys.
With the first generation, depending upon the frequency you were testing, you would put it in different ones. The Ultra is so much nicer than the original.
I'm just trying to set this up. So we turn the radio on now?
You can, but we also have to set up the
okay. Let's do that then.
The TinySA. So go back into your menu.
Okay.
Jeff's being a wise guy. He's saying they've already gone through more ham stuff than a whole season of Clubhouse. we love the boys at the Clubhouse, but they're kind of like your cousin that's always getting arrested for DUI and stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay. All right. So you want to hit back. So you want to go to the top menu.
All right.
And then the first thing we're going to do is you want to go into measure, and we're going to pick the option or the feature for harmonic. So it should be the top in there. It should say harmonic. Now this changed with the newer firmware. So when you took yours out of the box and we're playing around with it, I was like, what are you looking at? So that's when I did my firmware update video. And so we're going to test on 146. Let's go 146.52 and then hit the M for megahertz. Sometimes people hit the ×1 and that'll actually do kilohertz and it'll look all goofy. Now it's asking you for a span. And what the span does is it basically divides your screen into 8 separate sections. So you can look at each harmonic range separately. It's probably more for looking at like harmonics on transmit when you're looking at like your third order intercept and harmonic distortion of your signal. But we're doing a little bit of a different harmonics test. But I would just do 146.52 megahertz again.
And meg him.
Yep.
All right. So I did that right when I was playing with it once before. So
yeah. So now you want to turn your menu on again. We spent a lot of time in the menu.
We do.
And then you want to hit level in there. All right. Now your attenuator is a 40 dB attenuator, so we want to account for that. Yes. So there's an option called external gain, and you want to hit that. It's like right in the middle. There you go. And then do -40 × 1. And we do this because whatever readings come onto the screen, we want to add 40 dB to that to account for the -40 that we're attenuating with that big ass attenuator.
Gotcha.
And now the last thing we want to do is go back into the menu one last time. And you want to go back. And then you want to pick display. And then you have an option there called draw line. It's like the fourth one down. And then just do -16.02 × 1. So negative, there you go.
16.2.
0.02. And then ×1.
Set this line here.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, it's not. It doesn't look like it's at the right level. But that's all right. Like that looks like it's at 0.
Yeah, it does.
So maybe that's a new firmware thing. I gotta figure out. Like maybe you have to adjust for the.
I did look at mine. Mine's not up to date. Not up to the one you just did on your video, but it's close.
Yeah, so we're not going to worry about it too much. See, I wonder if it's because you have to account for the attenuator as well. But in any event, turn the radio on and turn it on 14652.
Oh wow. Hang on a second here. All right. And I am on
So
low power, I think, right now. You want me to check that, or does it matter?
it doesn't matter. So go back into that draw line again. I don't like where that line's sitting.
Oh man, what did I do?
All right, so there's under display, there's a rotate, and so you just rotated. So go back and go in your menu, go back,
Okay.
and then go into. Do you see display on there?
Yeah.
And then there should be one called rotate display.
Got it. All right.
All right, and then hit back. Oh no, you're on draw line. You're on draw line. Hit the draw line option, and then do negative 16.02, and then times 1. Yeah, I don't know. It's not sitting at the right spot, but we're not going to worry about it too much. We'll figure it out
All
later. All right, so you want to key that thing up?
All right, here we go. Hopefully, no sparks or nothing. I want to change. Sorry, guys. Unfortunately, the cable is kind of going to go where it wants to go.
So yeah, it's settling itself down. So if you hit the menu real quick, and then you can hit pause sweep. It's at the top. Now, there's two different things. You can pause this entire screen. Now you can unkey the radio.
Now I can unkey. Okay.
So you can pause it, or you can freeze the trace. So they're actually two different things.
Right.
But it's fine. So now just tap outside that menu, and that'll go away.
Okay.
And so if you take a look at this, it looks like it's actually looks like it's clean. We don't have that that line on there doesn't look too good, but I can do some math on there. So your top peak was it 36.5?
Yep. 36.9.
All right, and then marker
36.9.
Okay, it's 36.9. So if I go 36.9 minus, what is that? 50.5 dBc? Is that what that says for marker number 2?
Yeah.
So like you would say, okay, that one is 40 dB down, so it's clean. But actually that spike on 2, if you do the math, it's at negative 13.6 and it needs to be at negative 16.2. So that radio is it's dirty.
This thing's old. It's an old Baofeng.
Well, that was the A, right? That's like the second generation. They did UV5R, then
Yes.
UV5RA.
This is the fancier looking one with the chrome grill on it.
Yeah, now that marker number 3, that one would be good because it's negative 56 down, and that would give it enough to be below the negative 16.2. So there's 2 parts to the rule for these HTs, and that second spur would cause that to be a fail.
All right.
It kind of
looks like because of the line, it looks good, but it's not.
Right. Unless I did my math wrong. Now just give me 1 second. 50.5. That was 35.6 or 36. It's 36.9.
Yeah. 36.9.
Yeah, it's not enough.
Okay.
So, all right. So now you got to go back and you got to unpause it. And let's get that let's get that other radio hooked up.
All right.
Yeah, it's not that bad there, Lightning Lee.
It was pretty close. I mean, for an old one. It's been around.
Random Wire saying last resort, blame the firmware. That's the best way to do it, right?
That's right.
Mike, we're just making sure
so
that
guys,
the thing is below the certain range it's supposed to be.
So
let's get that TID up there.
The TID. So the one nice thing about this TID, mine put out like 11 or 12 watts when a full charge battery. And I don't have any clue where it's at. Okay, it's on the right frequency at least. Are you ready? I'm right-handed, so I'm going to hit with my left here. Here we go.
You want to turn your well, that's fine.
Turn it off, or does it matter?
Yeah, so when we did this one, when we tested Mike's on his stream last Friday, he had all that jank down at the bottom of that primary. See how it's like the signal's real wide down there?
Right.
And so that's pretty much exactly what his did.
Was Mike's from China one too?
I don't know. He's in the chat though, so he can
So
tell.
Want me to pause it? I can pause it now, right?
Yeah, hit pause. And then click outside that menu and just to turn it off.
All right. So this thing
it looks good.
It looks really clean, huh? I mean, yeah. There's 2 and 3. You can barely even tell they're there.
Yeah, and that could just be from just whatever. I wouldn't worry about it. So like there's a lot of mixing that happens in these things, just like in your radio. Sometimes you get goofy little peaks will pop up and disappear that are they're not really true. So what you can do is you can do the measurement, put more attenuation on, and if the peaks disappear, then you know that they were they were real. If they don't disappear, then you know that the TinySA is generating them.
Oh, okay.
So I think you're good there.
That looks pretty good.
Do you have that that one Baofeng that everybody was saying is like super dirty? I think it was like the 17 or something. Maybe it's a 19.
Yes, I do. And that's yeah. You find it.
Yeah, Craig, that looked a lot like Mike's, where it had that big old porky base on the bottom of that primary. Yeah, Jeff, that's what they're saying. That Baofeng has bought off the folks at the TinySA factory.
You know, I had that out the other night. I don't know what I did with it. It was I had the one with the black screen.
Yeah, I don't right. Did you have 2 of them? Like you had like somebody sent you Baofeng?
I had an orange one, and I think I gave that to a buddy of mine.
And then didn't Baofeng contact you and be like, "That's a fake Baofeng"?
Yeah, the black one, the black face one, was supposedly a true Baofeng. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, it's funny the way that those companies work. They always are blaming each other for saying it's fake. Like there was a company called Baofeng USA, and then there was another Baofeng company in the United States, and they were constantly saying how each other was selling fake Baofengs. And my opinion of it is that they both were selling fake Baofengs. It's just crazy the way that whole copyright system works in China. Years ago, I had a buddy that was working at the knife show down in Atlanta, Georgia. And he was telling me that they had this knife sharpener that they built. It was like a manual sharpener that had like these bars that you would hook the stone to, and another one you'd hook the knife to keep the angle consistent while you were sharpening it. And he said that these guys from China came over and got a measuring tape out, and they were taking all these pictures of their device and measuring it with a measuring tape and stuff like that. And he shooed them away. He started yelling at them and stuff like that. But he was like, they're cloning my stuff. I know it. So it's kind of funny.
Hey, go figure. I put it back in the box. My wife will never believe it.
So Dan in San Diego saying that what are we seeing around the 7th harmonic on the TinySA? And so the way the TinySA works, actually, ironically enough, is off of harmonics. So it doesn't have the range to measure the bandwidth that it advertises, but it's very common in test equipment. So what they do is they'll do like a harmonic of the lower frequencies and then multiply it. And so what you're seeing there is a bump in Chuck's noise floor. There you go, man. Hook that thing up.
There it is. Just wanted to show them which radio it was.
Now, is that the one that they're saying is real or not? Or
this is the one that's supposed to be from Baofeng when they contacted me. Because they basically said my other one was, they didn't really say it was counterfeit, but they alluded to it.
Right, when they said it's not legitimate.
Yeah. All right. So let me turn it on. Let me see what.
There you go. Awesome.
I was wondering why my other one wasn't in.
It sounds legit. It's got the Baofeng lady.
It does.
Shane saying Baofeng Global sent him a different radio than what he ordered. It's like the TalkPod sent me the instruction manual, and my radio box was for a different radio.
All right, here we go.
Holy mackerel!
Oh, look at that thing.
Yeah, no math is needed.
It's really clean. Yeah.
We got the cops going around like crazy out here.
I'm gonna have the cops out front at my house or with this thing.
Yeah, so once that it looks like it's about settled, so you probably want to hit the pause button on that. But that's not right. That failed. So your harmonics on the second and third marker.
Yeah, this is the way it should look when it fails, right?
Yeah.
On that blue line.
Yeah, but that the orientation of that blue line's off. So I got to go back and take a look and see what's going on with that. But I'm not going to do the math because you can see the one spur.
One, yeah.
Yeah. So the one spur that you have there is 20 dBc. So it should be over 40. Mm-hmm. And then the other one is 43. So you would think that you're clean on that third, but if you take 43.1 and subtract 36.1, you get you don't get 16.02. So it's not below the 16.02 threshold that it needs to be under. So both of those spurs would cause it to fail.
And that's high power for this one.
Yeah. Can you guys hear the sirens?
I can.
You know what I think it is, though? I think it's the Santa riding around, because I've fallen victim to this one before. No. So the local fire department gets a Santa Claus to sit on the top of the fire engine, and they drive around the neighborhood.
Yeah, we did that a long time ago when I first got in.
That's right. Other Andy saying it's the law closing in. I'm deep in the bunker, man. They don't know. They don't know.
I just set this on low power. Let's see if it looks any better. I'll let it clear out first. All right, here we go.
Yeah, when you see them creeping up like that at first, you know something's
all the way over to 6. Well, 6 disappeared and 5 disappeared, but they were there. It looks worse on low, doesn't it?
You know, it's crazy. Like, they can drive the Santa Claus around without all the sirens.
Hey, us firemen like the sirens, man. Especially at 2 in the morning. Especially at 2 in the morning.
But yeah, they're not. That's still dirty on low.
Looks every bit as bad as the is on high, huh?
Yep. Now that thing has an SD card in there, and you can actually save the screenshots to the SD card. And then that way, what you could do. What's that?
Other than this video, that's going to be the only proof that they're bad.
Right. But so, like, if you go to your top menu, so hit back real quick. I'll just show you how to do it, so you know for other videos. If you go under storage, and then there's an option called Save Capture. You don't need to click it, but then you can capture that, and then
save configure.
Save Capture. It's like I don't know, 5 or 6 options down. So save configure.
I see it. Yeah, I see it. I see it there.
Yeah, and then what you can also do.
You can see it better than I can on the screen.
Well, it's not. I don't have my glasses on, So I got a new pair of old man glasses. They should be here by now. They're probably sitting in the mailbox.
A new pair, huh?
Yeah, because I got these, and these don't work as well as I wish they would. So I got a higher magnification pair, and they're big jumbo lenses. So I should look real good in them.
So let me come out of here. So is this like we were playing with this last night? You and I were.
We were.
And
let me get you on full screen.
Is this something that I can test on here?
Now we would probably test that on the Nano VNA.
Okay.
So like if we tested it on the Nano VNA, we would be able to do what's called an S21 test. And that would allow us to measure insertion loss through that, which is what we want to see. But we also want to measure our reflection coefficient. And that's the Nano VNA is really good at that. So that's what we'd want to use.
Well, hopefully this was helpful to other people. It was to me, I know, because I know you got this down because you do it all the time, but I actually did remember some of the steps there. So the numbers are the thing. I need to write the number stuff down on what to plug in there. The 146/520 was easy, but your line, which I guess we need to figure out where that line's supposed to be now, huh?
Yeah, we'll work on it. We'll figure it out.
All righty. Anything else we can show, or is that about it?
That's probably it. That's what we got it for, to test the harmonics, right? I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that we can do with those, but we can do another video at another time. We'll work on it.
Can you guys hear my dog? He sounds like he's dying back there. Well, I appreciate everybody showing up tonight. I don't know. This may not be a regular thing for me, but maybe I'll figure out some stuff that I can stream here or there, and maybe Ape and I'll start doing this more often. I don't know. I need to learn more about it for testing. He's trying to get me to do some testing on our antennas, and right now he's the one that's doing this type of testing on our antenna stuff, and I do the actual field testing. So,
well, you do all the engineering of how it all goes together. So, like, we'll start talking about a concept for an antenna and all the different parts that it needs. And then it's like, well, how in the hell we're going to get that to sit on the frame? And then Chuck comes back. He's got like a beautiful, pristine picture of exactly how it's supposed to look. I'm like, oh my God.
I did a new one today we're working on right now, which will be, we've been pretty good about our winder works for pretty much everything. So that's a good thing. That was the concept when we all got in on the design of it and stuff, to make sure we didn't have to have 15 different winders for 15 different antennas, So,
right.
And the only thing we have ventured off on right now is our 2-meter Moxon thing that's still in the works. I wish we had one of those nylon printers, because those guys are making some bank on that stuff. It's really good. I mean, you can't beat it.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, like especially during the COVID, man, it was like, oh my God, you're kidding me! It doubled and tripled in price a couple of times, So we didn't pass that on. We just tried not to buy any for a while.
Well, like I get this filament, but it's PLA nylon, and apparently it's like really bad to use. So like on my printer, like the feeder that I have for the color changer says don't use nylon because it's got glass in it, like fiberglass or something, and it tears it up.
You have to use a hardened
nozzle and all this other stuff. And so I did it anyway. I was like, if it goes bad, I'll buy another one. And so I ran it through there, and the prints, I mean, they looked okay, but they didn't look anything like I think that the place that we get them from is using like a powder, like they're spraying like a powder.
It is powder. In fact, it's 100% infill too. There's no voids in it. There's not supposed to be any. So yeah, like, I did some PLA carbon fiber, and it actually held up out in the sun for a while. PLA is not the best for that, even if it's carbon fiber. And then I heard it may not be as good as some of the other stuff. It looked really nice though. The prints on it were like really sweet. All right, everybody. I guess we're done. We've shown, and we've proven that the radios aren't very clean, except for the TID. I can use that 10 water. That's legal.
Welcome,
anything else going on?
You know what?
I do have a. I have to say, go ahead. You say.
Look at that comment from Craig. He's saying that so under display there is a draw line.
Oh, so Craig's used this probably. That's a
All
new
right, that looks
firmware.
right.
It was Ape's like, what are those blue lines? I go, I don't know. I've never used one of these things.
Yeah, that I don't have a draw line under level.
Oh, you don't?
I don't. We'll play around with it and get it figured out.
Yeah, that might have been different firmware. I do have a couple of. Well, we've got an antenna that we're gonna. It may not come out for a little while because I just built one today, the first one we built, and we don't even know if it works yet. And then I've got a special little project. One's kind of a fun project that I'm coming out with. I think Ape and I were talking about last night. I think it's going to end up being a 9-to-1, just because of the amount of wire I can get on what I'm putting it on. So unless I find some thinner wire.
We ordered 50 of those green toroids, which are like impossible to find.
Yeah, the ones we don't know anything about as far as what color they are, guys.
Yeah, so like I ordered some from. Shockingly, I found them one day. I just kept looking and looking and looking, and I found them on Amazon. And then I ordered them, and they're like, "Oh, it's going to take like 6 weeks to get there from the motherland." And they started shipping, and then all of a sudden I started getting the things. Oh, your order's been delayed. Your order's been delayed. Your order's been delayed. And then it came back and said that the package is not going to show up. And I'm like, what the? And I was all bent out of shape about it. And I got 4 of them for $25, which is not a good price. And
it's not a good price. The deal with these toroids is under the test. I happen to have a couple of them. I bought them for some other project a while back, and Ape and I were like, I was looking at all kinds of different toroids to see if this worked for this antenna that was our vertical. And when I did the one that we just bought, I could tune 80 to 6 meters with the internal tuner.
Like and the 3-to-1 tuner.
Yeah, with a regular 3-to-1. And with the toroid you usually use, I could only get a few bands. Like I got that guy over in was he in Ireland or something, and that was just, I mean, it happened to be on 12 meter, and that happened to be one of the bands it would tune. But so we're trying to really get this one going, and then Ape's going to run some his test on it on the VNA, I guess.
Yeah,
and see how we don't want to sell it and not be very efficient. We don't want to be throwing a 5-to-1 out there that's like super lossy, and we don't think this one is.
So what we do is we take 2 cores and we hook them up back to back like this, and then we hook these 2 BNC connectors to the ports on our Nano VNA, and then we do an insertion loss test. Then we take the results and divide it by 0, and it'll tell you. So these cores are 9-to-1s, and these are actually pretty good in terms of loss. Now, because they're powdered iron, they don't have very good. They don't have very good. They have good bandwidth, but it's not broadband like a ferrite core. So, like we typically would use these if we were building like a component, like a filter or something like that. But we wouldn't use them for like an inductor that we use like in a 9-to-1 or something. But you never know. Sometimes, like the Irchi antenna design says to use this mix too.
Right.
So the mix on the ones that we're looking for, Jeff, are 52, but they're not ferrite; they're powdered iron. And so
at least we think that's what they are.
Yeah, but they look,
because the ones I had no number, nothing on them, and now when I get new stuff, I write it down or write it on it because
always label the cores as soon as you get them.
All the gray ones, like the 140s that we use, they all look the same, except for size sometimes. And so,
did I say divide by 0? I meant divide by 2, and then you get a dB loss, and then you do some math on that to figure out your percentage of loss.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, Arthur.
So,
well, we appreciate you guys showing up, or I do. And Ape, I appreciate you coming and helping me. And
yeah, man, anytime.
Eventually, you're going to have everybody knowing how to do this stuff, so we can test every radio that's ever made. And
yeah, that's what we want to do.
They don't. If you guys don't know it, that a lot of these radio companies don't like Ape. So
that's right. Hey, Arthur.
Just saying. All right, guys. I appreciate it. We're gonna get out of here and hit the button. You hitting it?
Yep.
Did you hit?